Hey, what's up, boys, and welcome back to another video. So the highly requested Moonwalker Monk guide for Season 3 is finally here. Let's get into it. So for Moonwalker Monk in Season 3, there hasn't really been a lot of changes from Season 2 wise. So a lot of the same things still do apply. First thing we're going to talk about is going to be our stats, and again, the same thing as Season 2. We're going to be stacking Mastery, then Haste, and then Crit. As you see here, I have pretty much Mastery on all my pieces that I can. The pieces that I don't have it on is my tier set where I don't get to choose it, and then you would optimize for haste. And then here with my feed is because it's my honor feed and so on. So yeah, for stats, it's still mastery, haste, crit, and of course versatility on all your pieces that you can. For my cloak, I've gone with mastery as that is what I'm trying to stack the most, which gives the most damage for windwalkers. And I think it's pretty much the same even if you play Shadowpan. I still wouldn't stack haste. I didn't do it last season either, even when I did play Shadowpan, and I'm kind of hopping between the both. I haven't really um got dead set on one I want to play throughout, but I am utilizing both when I think they're good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the stats. It's mastery, crit, or mastery, haste, then crit, and then of course versatility on all your pieces you can. Next thing I want to talk about is going to be our races. Again, races hasn't changed for quite a while, but I still say them every guide because people still ask every guide. So it's still going to be Orc as the absolute best one for Windwalker monks, and then you could go into a gnome because roots are kind of annoying. And you could go into a human for the reduced trinket. But yeah, it's Orc superior to everything, and then it just goes down. Night Elf is also in the play because Nelf is pretty strong. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Orc is number one, and then you can kind of pick whatever you want. But again, the races aren't that big of a deal more after the nerfs to them, so you can pretty much take whatever you want. It's not going to be doing that much of a difference. Next up, we're going to be talking about gear, and gear is kind of a funny one, or a tricky one, I would say, because I feel like it depends on whether you're playing Shadowpan or Conduit. I'll go over both, but again, as we talked about with stats, you want to have first mastery pieces, especially on your fingers and your necks where the it really goes high. I'm picking verse mastery. For your trinkets, when you have honor trinkets, you might as well take the on use one as it's a higher proc and you can control when you use it. But when it's the Conquest one, the on proc one gives crit, so you would go for the one that procs automatically. Talking about set pieces and two set and four set, what do you go for? Um, if we go in here, I'm playing Conduit right now, so I actually not sure how much it benefits me to go two or four set. I have a character I'm testing on going no sets for Conduit, and then this character I'm gonna go four set on, and I'm gonna see what different it really makes, and yeah, the damage difference and what you should be going. But normally it's always good just to go your set pieces. It's the most safe way to do it, and later in the season you can go back if you don't need them. But I would recommend getting two and four set on Conduit, and of course on Shadowpan, the two and four set's actually pretty good. So it's a def must have on Shadowpan, and on Conduit I would still recommend getting it, and then you can always swap off it after. The piece you wouldn't get it on, let me see here. You would get it on head, that's big verse. Shoulders, that's haste mastery, yes, yes. So it's either hands or legs. I think you would not get it on hands because that's the biggest crit, where legs is haste, which is a better stat for you. So every other piece than hands. But yeah, I recommend 2 and 4 set. And talking about the cloak, you should get the cloak. The cloak is a little bit higher item level than the conquest one. It goes 7 above, and it gives high amounts of secondary stat. And also, it gives you an effect. So definitely recommend getting the cloak as well. But yeah, get 2 and 4 set for both hero talents, I would recommend. And then later on in the season, I can tell you when I've tested it certainly, because I don't have 4 set on any of my characters. I have not PvE'd. So I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I still recommend 2 and 4 set for both hero talents and getting the cloak. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be our talents. Nothing really changed. It's still the same talents baseline, and then there's a couple of talents that it's more preference. And let's go into them here. I'm going to start off with Conduit. And the left side looks like this. The things you can change is you can not take Vicious Vivification. It doesn't really do a lot these days, so I definitely see why you would opt out of it. You could then take Bounding Agility. You wouldn't take Detox unless you need it, which is primarily against hunters with their silence, and you can also use it against Rogue's Poison and Shadow Priest Dot. You can also opt into energy transfer if you know you're going to be interrupting a lot to get the roll and paralysis reduction. A lot of people play Escape from Reality where you can use your port twice. That's also really good. I prefer playing with Lighter Than Air because I really enjoy that extra mobility. It pretty much gives you an extra roll. As you see here, that's the roll, and that's Lighter Than Air. So it's actually pretty huge, and I definitely recommend Lighter Than Air. Personally, I enjoy playing with it a lot. You could also definitely play Healing Winds to get the heal when you use Transcendence, and if you play this, it ties really well in with Escape from Reality because you get the heal twice. You can also play Bounce Back. It's kind of buggy this talent still, I think. I don't really play with it, but if I'm playing against setup comps, I sometimes take it just to have that a little bit extra defensives. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the left side. I wouldn't really swap out anything else. Moving over to the right side, um, again, there's a little bit of preference, but mainly, oh, I see I actually have the wrong talent here. You should be going this when you're playing Conduit. I think I've opted out of Shadowpan and Conduit. These talents kind of messed it up. But yeah, this is what I'm running normally when I'm playing Conduit. And what you could take out is you could take out Swin's Bond. You could go into Rising Star. You could go into Fergus Swen, Memory of Monastery. I wouldn't recommend this. If you go out of Swen's Bond, I would take Rising Star or Fergus Swen. Anything else really is not worth it from my point of view. Um, I don't think you play Last Appears Capacitator and Power of the Thunder King, which is the big Craggle on Conduit. I play personally on Shadowpan, but it doesn't really seem worth here. But yeah, there's less preference over here compared to right side. So yeah, this is what I would go with here. If we move over to Shadowpan real quick. Yeah, here we go. As you see, the only thing that really changed is I'm taking Last Imperious Capacitator, Power of the Thunder King instead. Now I don't have Russian Jadewind, I don't have Swin's Bond. Over here I have Piece of Prosperity. This is also an option you can take. I take this sometimes when I want a little extra heals for my healer. It's a lot of the times where I'm using this so I can have the Ring of Peace reduction when there's double melees that are just going at my healer. Or if I'm playing with a caster and there's again double melees. It can be very beneficial. But again, Ring of Peace is kind of gimmicky, and if you're playing against demon hunters, which there is a lot of these days, they just pretty much jump over it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the normal talents. Not a lot has changed here. If you're going into the PvP talents, when you're playing Shadowpan, it's kinda free. You would take these three if you need disarm. If you don't need disarm, you can take. I normally take either Wind Waker or Ride the Wind. Anything else really isn't good. If you're going over and you're playing Conduit, it's a little bit more annoying if you want disarm. Um, You're playing Conduit. I play Turbo Fist, Absolute Serenity, and Rising Dragon Sweep. Rising Dragon Sweep is insanely good as it's pretty much just an extra interrupt without giving them precog. But if you do need disarm, I would normally swap out of it and take it like this. Normally try and always have it as it's just super good against melee and casters. But yeah, if you do need disarm, this is what it would look like instead. I think Absolute Serenity is a must-have as it's just super value, like super huge value at being totally immune to CC when you're using Conduit. But yeah, that's it for the hero talents, the normal talents, and the PP talents. Now we're going to talk about our burst, and first thing I'm going to show is the burst on Conduit, and it's the same as last season. I don't really look too much at my 2-set. I don't have 4-set yet, so I haven't really tried to play with that. But the 2-set is Heart of the Jade Serpent additionally triggers for 4 seconds at 100% effectiveness after you cast Slicing Winds. So you have Slicing Winds here. So I normally start with my Slicing Winds anyway, so it actually ties pretty good into it. But what you would do is you would get your like an optimal one is you get your hit combo up first, of course. But a lot of times you don't really want to wait for that. Also, if you can get transfer the power up, that's optimal. But yeah, if you're just when I'm going in, I'm normally just doing the go as fast as possible to get my CDs up again as fast as possible. So what I would do, I would use my tiger and then I'd do my go with images. Use images, slicing winds. I use conduit, and then off the conduit, I'll fist of fury, rising sun kick, knock up, spin, and just rinse and repeat. Now I got slice again, use slice on CD for sure, and use my fist before my Heart of the Jade Serpent proc goes off. Spinning crane kick, blackout kicks on proc, and that's just pretty much what you do the whole way through. You really want to prioritize slicing winds on CD as it's a huge damage boost. And then yeah, of course, after every strike the Windlord, you want to try and see if you can Fist of Fury, because you get the Heart of the Jade Serpent stack. And if you can pair them with Transfer of Power, 10 stacks, you just get that 30% extra damage on it, which is really nice. But yeah, that's the burst rotation for Conduit. Let's go into Shadowpan. Moving on to the burst rotation for Shadowpan, and it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing that changes is you take out Conduit. So what you want to do optimally is get your 5 stacks of hit combo up. Then it's the same go. You would use your Tiger first, then images, strike the Windlord, strike, then you would fist. And you can see here I'm building up my lightning. So whenever I get that in, I would press that because that is huge value. My flurry strikes, they pop off. I don't really look at them too much. I use my images here as I see I'm getting my crackle up in a sec. I use my Fist of Fury full because Fist of Fury does a little bit more damage on Shadowpan. I have my Crackling Jade Lightning here. I have my images up. I use them, and it's huge amounts of damage. So you see here, it did 9 million. So yeah, it's definitely worth. But it's the same thing as Conduit. What you want to do is you want to keep using your Strike at the Wind or Slicing Winds on CD. You want to prioritize Fist of Fury a little bit more here, as it does do a little bit more damage. You don't look at your flurry strikes at all. You just send them normally. You could pair them with a Crackling Jade Lightning, but it's not going to do that much more damage as they do decent damage, but it's nothing crazy. You can see down here we only did one, I think, and it did 2.4 million. So it's okay. When we get 4 set, it's going to do a lot more as it's going to be triggered often. But yeah, prioritize slicing winds here as well. Prioritize the Imperious Capacitator. Use your trinket on this proc. Use your images on this proc if you can. And then also I would use Strike the Windlord for the Gale Force effect. But yeah, that's it for the Shadowpan burst. Pretty much the same thing as Conduit. Only thing is you don't have that one button. The last thing I'm going to go over is going to be my macros. They haven't changed since last season, but again, I get often questions about them, so I'm going to say them again in this guide. The first thing we're going to go over is just going to be my Conduit one. I have it down here so the button doesn't disappear when I go to Shadowpan, so there's nothing in it actually. Then I have my Detox ones, which is dispel my Party 1 and 2 members. I have Disable. Here I use Focus instead of Party 1 or Arena 1, 2, and 3, as it just works better for me. For Disarm, I do have Arena 1, 2, and 3, so I can be as fast as possible with my Disarms. For heals, it's the same as Detox. I have Heal for Party 1 and 2, and then of course for myself. We have a Hellstone macro. We have a Focus Touch of Karma macro, so I have the opportunity to also hit that instantly instead of having to switch target first. More optimally, you should probably have it with Arena 1, 2, and 3, but for me, I think it hinders more than it benefits me, as you sometimes you want to press it when you're very low and it has to be very quick, and then if I press it on the wrong target, if he has block or bubble or bop or anything, it just messes totally up. So yeah, I have a focus and I have a normal one. Kick, same thing as disable, I have a focus one only. With Tiger's Lust, I have with my Detox and Vilify, I have a party 1 and 2 to get my teammates out of sea or roots. On my mount, I actually have a cancel auras for a lot of things. I have it for Blessing of Freedom, Protection, Time Stop, and Pet Dismiss. I have Paralysis for Arena 1, 2, and 3, same thing as my Disarm, so I can do that as quick as possible. I have a Reload macro. On my Rising Sun kick, this is the one I get most questions about normally. Here I have that I cast Provoke on all pets, so I'm trying to get them to me. I just have a toy here, which makes me do this. I have a pet attack macro on it, and again, I have Tiger Leap, which is a ability from my pet, so it goes to the target that I'm Rising Sun kicking. On my Storm Earth and Fire, this is my burst. This is where I'm putting my racial. This is where I'm putting my trinkets. So just making sure I'm doing the most damage when I'm bursting. I just have a use 14 and a use 13. That's the macros for me, and that's the whole guide, boys. I hope you enjoyed. It was just a quick rundown of what you should be doing here and my recommendations. And yeah, not a lot has changed, so not a lot of new recommendations, but I still hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.